not the issues playing. Oh God. Oh no. Not Princeton Avenue. The way you have no idea what that means.
Yeah, no, I know nothing. I know nothing, Jon Snow.
What if we just oh my God, by you googling the lyrics to Princeton Avenue by Issues?
No.
I feel like it'd be funny though.
I already have it opening with you screaming in pain, so.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Thank you, Instagram, for informing me on my phone that I'm on a call right now. I would have never guessed. Remember yesterday when you...
I didn't do it, it was Kiki.
It was very funny because I just saw Kiki tail, and I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want first thing in the morning. I haven't even gone out of bed.
You didn't even have your glasses on. I was like, geez.
Yeah, that's how early it was for me. I hadn't even put my glasses on yet. In fact, you were out of bed before I. Really says something.
Shut up. We're not gonna talk about it.
Okay. So I have this one nail that keeps on coming off, right? And I have another one that came off, and did them both with nail glue to put them back on. And the middle finger, it's still on, like it's securely on there, but the one on my pointer finger keeps on falling off again. So I was like, you know what? It's technically, for the most part, like translucent with glitter in there, right? These nails. So I decided to test if I could, like, the actual, like, nails, base coat. And then, because it's gel, you have to cook it for a minute. See if that will work. And it did. So, fun fact, that's the thing. My nail's still on, like, back on.
Okay.
Also, in my sleep, I managed to cut out, like, a third of one of my nails on the side. I don't know how this happened.
What the hell do you do?
I don't know. So I had to build up that part of my nail by just, like, putting a top coat there for, like, a solid 5 minutes and then cooking it for 5 seconds and then putting more on. And it was just a fun time.
Vessel, exclamation point, and more. Boards that have S all over them. Thank you, Pinterest. Thank you.
And with that knowledge, I'll just go right into the intro because I want to get this shiz done. I have other things I have to do. Welcome to a Fish and Flower podcast. I'm Flower aka Rose, and I figured out what my fun fact today was going to be because I saw a video of this lady fake putting makeup on her dog, right? And I thought you'd really appreciate this. The rare times that my grandmother does her makeup, she has, on like her little vanity thing that has all her makeup, she has one makeup brush that she doesn't use. And the whole point of it is that after she does each step, she pretends to do it on Ivy with that brush.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
And then when she brushes her hair, she also, like, lightly brushes the top of Ivy's head with her brush. Because Ivy's just like, I want to be brushed. I want mommy.
I just think that Ivy needs a kiss on her head.
Well, she's not going to be here until 2 days. In 2 days, I get her.
That's too long, bestie. That's too long. I need Ivy dog now. I need you to have 2 dogs now.
We gotta wait. I'm sorry.
It's so sad. I'm crying.
I know.
I'm actually crying.
Okay, do your intro, psycho.
My name is Fish, aka Stingray, and my mother fell into a bush yesterday.
That's a normal statement.
Which means she's taking a nap right now, so, you know.
This is gonna be a very Rose-centric episode.
Especially because I'm just laying in my bed staring at the ceiling. I didn't even go into the closet.
Good times. This is very much a stream of consciousness podcast, very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. On today's episode, not an episode planned. It's fine, we don't need to talk about it. We were both stressed about running behind schedule. This is one that I wanted to record this week anyway.
The way I was ahead
Yeah, I
and now
know.
I'm behind.
Uh-huh.
How the hell? How the
I don't know.
hell?
I don't know. But my Heart and Other Black Holes, I forgot I should pull up the content warnings. Um, especially for this book, dear God. I have thoughts and opinions
LOL.
about specific things, and I will talk about them. This is gonna be very little me talking about the plot, because one, is very character based. Two, it's a pretty short book. Like it's 300-ish pages. And it's YA, so it's very fast, right? Um, and let's be how it is sometimes. But yeah, this was not planned. It just happened. We were gonna record it this week anyways because I reread it for this week's vlog. As Stingray, I had read it a few months ago. Because I thought they
Uh,
would like it.
it was on my TBR for a while. I remember just the other we were talking about it. So it's like one of the most OG books on my TBR.
I love that for you.
And I finally read it, so.
I read it about a year or two after it came out. I don't know. It just happened to be at my school library, and I picked it up. At one point. Yeah. So I had them read it. So they had recently read it. I just reread it, so it seemed like a perfect time to film it. And then have it as like a back burner thing.
I need you to know that I finished it while I was dyeing my hair, and I was in public when I finished that damn book.
Ooh, have fun with that. I know Stingray rated it 5 stars because I can see it on Storygraph right now.
Obviously, what else would I rate it?
I don't know. I originally had it at 4 stars. I upped it to 4.25. I have little issues, and we will talk about that. That will be most of what I will talk about. Okay?
Okay.
We have content warnings. We have suicide attempt, suicidal thoughts, and suicide.
LOL. LOL.
I wonder why I thought Stingray would like this book.
LOL.
Me, every time I read a book that has suicidal thoughts or self-harm, that is a book well done. And then I just recommend it to Stingray. Like,
Thanks. I hope that this is my legacy.
you can't tell me you wouldn't enjoy them because you rated this one 5 stars.
I mean, nearly every book that has this as a feature is rated 5 stars, so I'd be so serious.
True. There's also child death, mental illness, and death. And then also, I'm gonna bring up something that I'm gonna talk about. Racism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's a good place to start, because I don't know how to... I'm gonna guess how to pronounce the main character's name. It's spelled Ayzel, I believe.
I looked it up, I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Both of her parents are Turkish, right? So it's a Turkish name. And at one point, she does straight up say to this guy, Azel, and it's like the hyphen, like how to pronounce it type thing. Like she's saying how to pronounce it like gazelle. So I'm gonna assume it's Azel, like gazelle.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna assume it's like that and hope I'm right. Hear me out. A lot of the racism in this blatantly is microaggressions. There's a lot of microaggressions. There's literally no one. That's one of the reasons why she first likes Roman, the other main character in this book, because he instantly pronounces her name right without even trying, right?
It's not very complicated.
I know, right? Meanwhile, everyone either will pronounce it wrong and she feels too uncomfortable to correct them, or will just not say her name and just be like, say her sister's name, or bigger sister, George's big sister and whatnot. And she's like, I have a name. And then they're like, well, I didn't know how to pronounce it. And she has to be like, yeah, that's why you ask? Yeah, we got things like that.
Or just be like, I don't want to pronounce your name wrong, so how do you pronounce it?
There's a lot of stuff there's some stuff about white passing, because despite the fact that both her parents are Turkish, she looks more like her father, who is a darker skin tone, and has his hair, but she has her mother's eyes, and her mother's eyes are the only thing that you can tell, like, her mother's quote-unquote exotic, because she is very passing, and then she, ends up, like, we learn more of the background. I'm gonna start going to the background now, because you learn stuff throughout the whole entire book, but basically, both her parents moved to America. When I think Azel was a little baby, like a few months old, they separated, right? And then her mother married, I want to say his name's Ted, but I know it's not Ted. It's some basic white guy name. It's like Steve or something. And he's your basic white collar blonde hair, blue eyed guy, right? She marries this guy in middle of nowhere's Louisiana. That's where it takes place. If that gives you any idea. Any idea where we're going with this. So she marries this very white guy. Most people, like, if you look at her, you wouldn't know she's not from America. She even, like, hides her accent and all this stuff. Her half-sister, Georgia, who's, like, a year younger than her, is, like, the perfect pretty blonde cheerleader. The only thing is that she also has their mother's eyes. And then her younger brother, who she does get along with really well, happens to look very much like Steve. And so, like, it's very much like she's making her perfect white family to survive type thing. Is the vibe that I'm getting. That's heavily hinted at. And so it's like these people, and then it's just Azelle there. poor Azelle.
Like, hey.
Yeah. So basically, we learned very early on that Azelle lives with her mother and her stepfamily. After her father did something, cough cough murder. I have thoughts and opinions. I will talk about that last because I have thoughts and opinions. Heavily thoughts and opinions. That's gonna be half of this episode. Okay.
Hear me out. I will probably agree with you.
Yeah. Because it also has to do with more issues that I have with her mother also connects to this. Like, all of my issues revolve around this. There's, like, one other slight issue, which basically happens to have to do with the last third, with Roman and whatnot. But basically, because this...
Honestly, just thinking about Roman right now is kind of breaking my heart, because, like...
Yeah. So she, goes to this high school. Her father... We learn pretty early on, we don't know exactly what happened, but he caused the death somehow of this very popular runner in town who was going to be, like, the Olympics, like, he was about to, like, do the trials for the Olympics and whatnot. And it's big deal. It's, like, coming up. It comes up every year on their anniversary, but it's coming up big time because that kid's younger brother is about to do the trials for the Olympics as well. Basically taking his brother's place. And so she definitely feels like everyone is afraid of her because of what her father did. She feels ostracized. She did have friends, very few friends before it happened. And one friend tried to stay, like, friends with her, but she pushed her away because she didn't want to make that person feel ostracized as well.
You know, hear me out. Maybe you aren't your parents' decisions. That has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, a lot of this book is... Yeah, a lot of this book is Azelle figuring that out herself. There's, like, a story of, like, shortly after everything, like, both Azelle and Georgia would, get people coming up to them asking questions about her dad and stuff. And, like, at this point, of course, Azelle's living with her mom's family, right? And... Georgia, so, like, she sees Georgia and this guy who's, like, junior, Georgia's, like, 8th, 9th grade, right? And this, like, 11th grader football player comes up to her and is, like, leaning up against her against a wall. And so she's worried that something's gonna happen, right? That he's gonna ask some inappropriate questions. And he's like, hey, did you know this guy? Did you, like, know all this stuff? And she's, like, actually giving this guy information, saying all, like, oh, yeah, I, like, basically knew him. He was, like, basically family. To get with this guy, and that's one of the reasons why she really doesn't like Georgia. Which is valid.
Yes.
There's one part at a zoo where this guy that she's working on a school project with, is with, they're at the zoo with Roman and Georgia. And that guy tries to tell Azelle that the whole entire reason why Georgia is there is to... I swear I hear my dog barking, and I don't know why. The whole entire reason why Georgia's there is to... I'm listening to my dog bark, and I'm distracted. Georgia's there to befriend Azelle, because that's what she wants. And Azelle's like, no, that makes no sense. And hear me out, I get where, like, out of context, yeah, you may think that she wants to befriend her sister, like, that makes sense. But literally every scene we get of Georgia is Georgia complaining that Azelle's sad for no reason and that she should get over it.
Yeah.
Literally every time. She literally says, you know, my father lets you live here and you hate him and all this stuff, and he could just let you live on the streets. Like, and we're supposed to be friends with you? Bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, no. Anyways, after everything, she's ostracized. She doesn't find joy in anything. There's hints that she was depressive beforehand, and this just like put another layer on top of everything, right?
LOL.
Also, she's also dealing with the emotions of both loving her father because he's her father, but also hating him because of what he did. Which valid. I can see how that's a thing. So she wants to die. She doesn't see a point in living. She thinks it will make her mother's life easier, and all this stuff, because she's noticed that ever since everything, every time her mom looks at her, she isn't like her like normal like I love my child type stuff. It's more of a like scared, and she takes us like scared of her and whatnot and what she will do because she's scared that she has the same thing that her father has that like made him go crazy and do this. She calls it her black slug that eats away all her feelings and whatnot.
Translation this book where you bash my head against the wall.
Valid. So she makes a plan to there's like this suicide website thing, forum, kind of like Reddit type thing. And there's this part on it called partners something, so that you can have a suicide partner in case you were too scared to do it yourself, right? And she's like, listen, I live in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana. Their chance of me finding someone is pretty low. But she's at work. She works at like a call center, basically. And she's at work and she's like just scrolling on the website there and finds Roman, who lives the next town over, and wants to die on a specific day. So the book is literally counting down the days until this specific day, April 7th. Good times. And so basically they meet up at this little like off the road type stand where you can get food and whatnot. She notices that he doesn't eat much. She also notices that he is, one, conventionally attractive, and two, popular. The waitress flirts with him. He has like a bunch of friends there who say hi to him, all this stuff. Two friends like sit with him and like instantly start like being a little weird and whatnot, and mention that Brian, the brother of, I think his name's Tristan, the guy that her dad killed, used to be friends with Roman, right? And she's like, oh boy. He immediately starts automatically assuming she's gonna be a flake because statistically women don't go through with it and all this stuff, and she's like, that's kind of sexist. You don't know what's up with me and whatnot. It's a lot of them back and forth. They fight a lot. So I don't know how the love comes into it, but whatever. She ends up meeting his mother.
It's interviews to lovers, obviously. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I really don't know how that happened.
Me neither. That's my other main issue. Yeah. So,
like, I get it, but I don't.
Yeah. I get the trauma bonding, but, like, be so serious. You kiss a guy one time and you're suddenly cured of depression, be so serious. Hot take, that's literally how I read it this time, and I was like, but she ends up meeting Roman's mother, who is the stereotypical housewife on the outside, at least. And she's not happy that she had to meet this woman, because she's like, I'm helping you die. I don't want to meet the woman, like, the family that you're gonna leave behind, right?
Yeah.
And type stuff. And basically, the mother character. The mother character is where we get most of the evidence of the microaggression type stuff. But, like, it's the microaggression in the type of, like, white people who don't understand that they're making the other person, like, the person of color, uncomfortable, and what they're saying or doing is weird. She does purposely make sure she pronounces Azel's name properly. We appreciate that. But she's all like, oh, you're Turkish? I'll make you Turkish food. There's also when she first meets her, she says, Azel, what a beautiful name. And Azel knows that's code for, where the hell is that from? So she has to be like, it's Turkish. And she's like, oh, I'll make you Turkish food, and whatnot. And Azel has to, like, go through with it while, not knowing what Turkish food is like. And, because, like, she's never experienced it. Her mother tried to leave that life behind. And, her dad was never stable enough to give her, history on that type of life and whatnot. So, like, she doesn't know what Turkish food is, really. She's had it one time when, like, a family friend made it for her, right? So, like, yeah, that's happening. There's stuff with, she's learning physics in school, she really likes science class. The science teacher eventually does, like, say, hey, there's this, like, science program camp thing you should go to. there's, in the science class is where the group project happens, where they have to take photographs of the different physics, laws of physics and motion and whatnot, right? And so they decided to do the zoo. When they sit down for the first time to do the project, I think his name's like Trevor or something, and he's friends with Georgia, and he's all like, "Hi, Georgia's sister," and she's like, "I have a name," and that it gets a little weird. Um, I'm very questionable about him. Um, he clearly has he's like okay, I guess. Like he tries his hardest to be like nice to her and whatnot, but she feels uncomfortable the whole entire time because like she also sees him talk to his friends and like be like, "I'll survive," as in I'll survive being stuck with this project with the daughter of a murderer.
Yes.
And stuff. Yeah. Roman invites himself to the zoo trip, right? And all this stuff. And there's also a thing where they go to a carnival and he wins a prize, and she lets it go to another kid who needs it, and whatnot, not her. It's this whole thing because like he used to do basketball. That's how he knows Brian and whatnot. That's how they were friends. We learn pretty early on the reason why he wants to die, especially on April 7th, is the year before on April 7th, his sister died. She was like 10 or something. He had a girl over, his girlfriend over. Of course they're not together anymore. And his sister was like, "Hey, can I take a bath?" And she wasn't supposed to take a bath on her own because she had a history of seizures. So if she had a seizure and then because the seizure falls down in the tub further and then it continues to go and then she ends up drowning, right? So she's not supposed to, but he was like, "Yeah, because then she'll be out of the way and then I can go tactus." Um, and so that's what he does, and then afterwards he goes to like check on his sister, and that's when he finds his sister's body in the bathtub because of course that's when she has his seizure. And so he believes he deserves to die because he killed his sister, and he wants to do it the same day as her, right? So that's the plan. They make a plan to like drive into a river and drown themselves basically because he also wants to do it with water and all this stuff. Um, Good times. Azelle goes through a bunch of paperwork of her mom's to try to figure out where her dad is, finds the prison he went to, tries to get in, and then they tell her that he's been moved to this mental institute of some kind. And so she's like, "Ah, shit, okay." The people there, honestly, very nice people who tried their best to help her find where he is. And she learns that he is there, but basically she can't see him without her guardian's approval, and being as her guardian didn't even tell her that her father had been moved, let alone that he was in where he was in prison. You know how that's going. So she's with Roman when they do this like field trip out to the prison, and they go camping overnight, and they drink some wine, and they kiss. And then next morning, Azelle's like, "I love him, and I don't want him to die, and I don't want to die. I'm cured of depression. Yay!" That's how it read. It really read like, "Oh, I kissed a boy one time, I'm cured of depression. And now I must cure him."
Personally, I could see you pulling out of it even before then, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she just needed someone to care about her a little bit more.
Yeah.
To, like, help. Like, she's obviously not cured. She just
she's
doesn't want
definitely
to die.
not cured. Yeah, she has like.
She just doesn't want to die anymore.
Yeah.
Because she feels like she has a reason. She feels cared about, so she doesn't feel like she has to die.
Yeah. So she decides to like go to the summer camp. And she's like trying to talk Roman into not dying. They go to the rundown playground where he used to play basketball with Brian.
Can I just say that Roman, his name fits him so perfectly. He's such a Roman. I don't know.
This is where we learn exactly what happened. I will talk about it at the end because this is where I'm going to talk for like 30 minutes about just this. So I'm going to talk about it at the end because I want to go through the whole entire book first. But basically we learn exactly what he did. And Roman's like, "Yeah, I knew who you were. I knew what it was. I pretty much guessed pretty easily. There's not many people with Turkish names, right? In this town, in a small suburb, Louisiana, right?
Yes.
And she's like, "Why didn't you ever tell me?" And he's like, "Well, it wasn't my place to bring it up, and like, I didn't care. It wasn't you who did it. Like, all this stuff." So basically, then she drops him back off at home because like he doesn't drive. And then she goes home and tells her mom that, one, she wants to see her dad, and two, she is depressed, and she doesn't know if she needs to see someone, but, it's a thing, and, yeah, and her mom, does hold her and, like, cries and says that she's worried about her and all this stuff. Yeah, she also says some stuff about, when she lived with her dad, she noticed that Azelle was sad all the time and wanted to go hug her, but she never did. I will talk about it when I talk about the thing, because that's part of my issues. So, uh,
Like,
basically,
I imagine none of this would have happened if
yeah,
she would just taken care of her kid.
yeah. A lot of stuff wouldn't have happened if, like, uh, um, anyways, so when she dropped Roman off, he said, you're good. He says a bunch of stuff basically saying goodbye to Azelle. It is very obvious that he's gonna kill himself, before planned and whatnot. Um, except, like, she doesn't realize it, and I'm like, listen, I get it, but, like, also, you are a person who, up until, like, 48 hours ago, was also planning to kill yourself. You should know the signs. You should know the words that he's using to say goodbye without saying goodbye. Because she literally used them on some people. So, like, be so serious. Um, but, yeah, so she goes to his house to, like, say that she loves him and ask him to stay alive. It's, like, the day before the 7th, and then, she gets there, and the mother's like, oh, why are you here? He said that he was hanging out with you. And she's like, what? And she was like, yeah, he took the car keys and left and took the car. So they, like, they're both freaking out. They don't find him in his room hanging. They don't find him in the river. And then Azelle's like, oh, wait, he took the keys. That means he's, killing himself in the garage in the car, right? Yeah, very obvious what he was doing. I get it's a high stressful situation, but please. So she does end up saving him. They go to the hospital. The mother thanks her for saving her son. It's this whole big thing. Um, and she feels back. She was the one who, like, originally was helping him out with all this stuff and whatnot. Uh, and eventually they do let her in to see him. And he's all like, what did you do? And all this stuff. And she's like, bitch, I'm not letting you die. Um, and eventually does leave because he falls asleep and whatnot. But, yeah, that is, like, a whole thing. And then she comes back, like, the next day wearing this, like, she's all dressed up in a dress and whatnot, and comes in, and he's all like, ooga ooga. Thank you for laughing at that. And she's like, listen, I love you and I don't want you to die, but you shouldn't choose to live for me. You should choose to live for you. That I do appreciate.
Very valid point.
Yes. And so, then basically.
But also, I kind of feel like if you can't choose to live for yourself in the moment, it is okay to choose to live for someone else as long as you learn to live for yourself in the process.
Yes. But basically, he agrees to try. And she's like, that's all I want. And then, the end, happy. The end. Okay, time for Rose talks for half an hour about my issues with what her father did. Okay. And this is the part where I victim blame. So, here's the background. Not Tristan, what? Well, yes, Tristan, but, Azelle's father, ran and owned a small, like, convenience store type place, right? I, like, envisioned, like, gas station mixed with Dollar General, but
yes,
family owned, right? She lived with him. We do learn that when they were together, when she was a baby, when her parents were together, he would have mood swings and would one minute be super happy and the next minute be like punching holes in the wall.
Welcome to the club, bestie. Like, I don't know.
And then so they separate because she didn't feel safe, and then let her only child, like, as soon as she enters a happy white marriage, leaves her only child with this man who literally punched holes in walls because he was so unstable that he would switch back and forth so much. This is why I don't like the mother, because she literally was like, I thought he was fine after, like, he magically cured himself after having so manic that he would go from one moment of being happy to the next moment punching things. So I left my child with him, because happy, lovely white marriage, and, like, I can't bring my color child into that.
But also, hear me out. Maybe she didn't even love her child in the first place.
And then there was also like this whole thing where like we do learn from Azel's POV in the background that like he would have moments where like you had to like walk on eggshells, you had to tiptoe around him depending on his mood and whatnot. Um, so like he very clearly was still unstable. And was also like there's this whole thing that I'm thinking of like generally the court, the legal guardian or the sole guardian of a child is the mother. So the fact that they gave her to her father who is manic, it really what was the mother saying? Right? Like what was the mother saying in the court and whatnot? Um
I mean, if she said, I straight up don't want my child, what else would they do besides give her to him?
I mean yeah, but like they in theory the court system would have gone through and um the fact that like for the divorce and whatnot, they would have had to like cite for reasons she would have had to cite his manic episodes. And then like in theory
I don't know.
she was supposed to, and then yeah, which means she was hiding it and pretending that it wasn't an issue. So that she wouldn't have to take care of her colored child so she could enter a white marriage and pretend that she was a happy white family.
Either way.
That's my theory. But
either way,
basically
the judicial system is stupid.
Yes. Hot take, I don't think he got proper trial in the court system because this is small town Louisiana where he killed a kid. He's like 17, 18-year-old kid who was very popular and like the golden boy and whatnot. And yes. He's a man of color. He's a person of color who kills this white kid. And everyone immediately put like, no, this would be like.
But also, he's also an immigrant, so that
yeah, he's an immigrant. It's a big trial, like the big thing where everyone automatically blames him and hates him for it. So like, it's very obvious. Like they could very much do a mistrial, because I do not think it was the jury was impartial, very heavily because he ended up in prison despite the fact that very clearly there is evidence of mental illness and manic episodes that led to this. Therefore, he should have ended up in the mental institute. He should have gotten. This is like why the whole entire what am I trying to say? Basically, he should have gone off for mental health and gone to an institute and then gotten help and whatnot. That's like why they have that as a thing in the judicial system, but they didn't do it.
They don't even do that like 95% of the time when they probably should. So
yeah, and like a lot of the time it's used for like serial killers and whatnot to see if like they were in their right mind during the incident. But like here's the thing, he was very much like there was evidence that he wasn't in his right mind. Therefore, he should have gone off for I forget the exact terminology. God damn it! I read so many true crime books. I should know this. But basically, yeah, I think it very easily could have gone into mistrial. Because of that. But also, the night that it happened, the story is basically, this guy who has a history of manic episodes, right? Also, he has been getting worse because, the store is losing money. He thinks that there has been some, kids stealing in the store, because that's basically where is all the stuff going. If, like, we can't. Yeah, things are being taken out, but like not being paid for. So someone's stealing type thing. So Tristan and his group of friends come in, and they start harassing him. They start pushing over shelves. They start breaking things. They start yelling at him and making fun of him and harassing him. Right? I'm pretty sure any one of us would do like. I'm just saying. You really think you're gonna react?
Shit.
Yeah, no, that's like, yeah, no, you're like a bunch of white kids walked into a person of color owned business, broke a bunch of shit, and then act surprised when he yells at them,
like,
and then
make
fun of him.
You're already going to react in an exaggerated way, but when you're mentally ill, just think about that.
Yeah,
reaction exaggerated even more than usual. So yeah, it's like
he's got a history, and then like yes, the solid like person would call the police, but one, he has mental issues already. And two, do you really think the police would have done anything? This is like the golden boy of the town that was about to go to the Olympics. Do you think they would have really done anything? And whatnot? and he's a man of color, and all this stuff. So he beats him with a baseball bat, in a manic episode, and then he gets arrested, and then he ends up going to jail for a life sentence. Which usually they don't give you a life sentence for killing one guy in a like random episode. If it's not like pre-planned or anything, it's like you very rarely they give you a life sentence for that. Also, and then he ends up with a mental institute. So hear me out. Hear me out. This is very, in my opinion, the whole entire thing. I don't know what Trisha was doing was racially charged or anything, but like definitely the court system and whatnot was racially charged in their judicial system and whatnot, and it fucks shit up. And also the stigmatism of a man of color and mental illness comes into it as well, and all this stuff. And it's like the system was up against him, and it's just sad. And also, like, don't break or don't walk into a store and start breaking shit. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
This is why I said this is gonna be me victim blaming, because like, hear me out. The solution of this was one, if mental health services were more of an option, especially to men of color, and two, if
but also especially in rural, you see what I'm trying to say?
Yes. But also, like, if Tristan didn't decide to walk into this store and start breaking shit with his friends, and think he's high and mighty because he's about to go to the Olympics, like, he can do whatever he wants, and then he dies.
Also, maybe teach your kids to be respectful to other people.
Oh yeah, that too. Like, it's all around. Why do you send me a stuffed Jesus in?
Because I thought it was funny. I was just scrolling through and then I just see Jesus. There's Jesus candy in there too. If you go scroll through the ad, there's Jesus candy and Jesus bookmarks, and it was so funny.
I love
There's
that.
like little candies in the packages that's like Jesus loves you and stuff. I was like, okay, thanks.
Oh my God, Jesus loves you. Jesus saves me. Jesus anchors me. Jesus guides me. Those don't even look like good candies.
I know. Like, you would eat it and then be disappointed. Which tracks? It's Jesus candy.
True. But yeah,
that's the body of Christ. Scrumdiddlyumptious for real.
Yeah, that fits for this book. But yeah, this book. I'm angry about the judicial system for this not real like this character in a book. And how
it applies in real life too.
And throughout society. Yeah, the issue is that like you could see this happening in real life like very easily, and it's just like, fuck me. Am I right? And how the system started trickling down by wronging Azelle as well, and it could have very easily, and only by her own determination and the kiss by Roman, true love's kiss. If we are talking about Once Upon a Time, I was watching a video on Once Upon a Time right before this.
Girl,
I have issues. Shut up.
Yeah, I know. I speak to you every day. I fucking know, bestie.
You want to talk about Grey's Anatomy with me now?
No. Kill yourself.
They say it in a loving way while we talk about this book. Or suicide is.
I love you. Don't worry.
But yeah, that's this book. I said it was going to be a fast one. We've only been recording for 39 minutes. Yay! It's depressing as fuck. So clearly we enjoyed it.
Yes.
That's the moral of the story. Next episode is going to be It Came From the Closet. I
really need to read that damn book.
Me too. The other one for this month, that this one was replacing its life ceremony, that one's still going to be like read eventually and recorded. It's just we didn't have time. Maybe. And we're stressed. Listen, I think we both enjoy it. It's just like, I forgot that I can't tell you because you said you didn't want to know anything about it, but like, hear me out. One of the stories has to do with people being turned into furniture.
Okay, American Horror Story Asylum. Okay, Hannibal. I said Hannibal just for you. I hope you know that.
I assume so. We all know
I love you.
A Hannibal bitch. It's fine. Hey, I didn't start rewatching it just because you said you were gonna kill me if I did.
No, I said I was gonna kill myself.
Oh. That's why I didn't do it then. I was like,
I
wait.
love how everything keeps tracking for this episode.
It really does. If you have anything else to say about this book.
I very much enjoyed it, and it was very much a book for me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I wish I had a physical copy.
I feel like,
I have a wish list. You can buy it off my wish list if you want.
so you know how the cover has, like, that knitted pattern of, like,
Yes, I love it.
that's, like, supposed to be the black hole and whatnot? I don't know if this is actually true or if it's just, like, a figment of my imagination, but my library's copy, in high school was a hardcover, and I remember that knitted pattern being, like, actually bumpy, like it's actually knitted in.
Oh my god,
I don't know
if
if
that's
that's real.
true. If it is, oh my god, I love them. I love whoever made the book. I love you. I love whoever made that decision. If
If
it's
it's
true.
real, yeah. I don't know if that's just a figment of my imagination because it's been at least 6 years, so it's been a bit. It's been a bit, just a tiny bit. But more like 6.5 because it would have been before May of 2017 when I read it. Somewhere between the fall of 2016 and May of 2017 is when I read it. Good times. But yeah, that was a fun thing.
I enjoyed it.
I thought you
The
would.
vibed. Roman's thing was so sad.
It
I'm
really
so
was.
glad he didn't die.
Yes.
I
Also, there was
related
a
too
thing.
hard, respectfully.
Yeah, there was also a thing where when he went to kill himself with the car and whatnot, it was like the 6th or something like that, and that's why like Azelle wasn't expecting it, and she's like, "What the hell? I thought you wanted to die on the 7th," and he's like, "No, I didn't want to do or in water, because of your sister," and he was like, "I wanted to, but that would like ruin her memory, like it was her day and all this stuff." And yeah, also he has a pet turtle.
But also, like, 2%, and he's really good at drawing, and Adele loves classical music. But also, can we talk about how selfish Roman is for wanting to kill himself so badly, and that would leave his mother childless?
Yeah, I know,
Like, I
right?
understand, like, I get it, but I don't.
Mhm. Yeah. Um. So yeah, all around good times. I would also like everyone to know that Roman's mother does not blame him. Like she straight up took him to therapy, and like they as a group tried to explain to him
The
like it
fact
wasn't
that
his
she
fault.
doesn't
Nobody
blame
blamed him.
him, don't speak to me. Like,
She's like, I blame myself more than I blame you because I knew it was too much responsibility for a 16-year-old. Like I shouldn't have done
it's
that.
really not.
Probably not, but like still, it's like a thing. And then you know, but she blames herself more than she doesn't blame him at all. So like, I feel like that's very important to bring up. Um, of all the side characters, honestly, the first place is Azel's half brother. I think his name's like Max, right?
Yes.
Very much reminded me of the youngest brother in Starfish.
Oh my god, yeah.
Uh huh.
We should do an episode on that one day.
We should. I should reread it. I want to annotate it.
I already did that.
I know you did. I bought it because of you.
I know, you're welcome. You should read Summer Bird Blue.
I should. I contemplated it briefly for a hot second, real fast. And then I was like, I don't got time for that. Maybe next year.
Yeah, next June.
And
There you
then
go.
second place is Roman's mom, in my opinion, for best characters.
I did enjoy Roman and Azilla as characters, and even if they didn't make the smartest decisions, I do think they made decisions like that would make sense for who they are as people and for the ages they are.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
like
that was
they're
just.
acting like 16-year-olds and they're feeling like 16-year-olds. I don't know.
But yeah, that was this book. You got any other thoughts and opinions?
Sad book make me go yay.
I'm not even gonna ask again. You can't say no. That's too good of an ending.
You're welcome.